We will now call the Plan Commission meeting of September 23rd, 2025 to order. Roll call, please.
Anna here.
Boucher.
Kipchinsky here.
Lorick here.
Gavich here.
Guzikowski here.
Oldani here.
Seifert here.
Approval of minutes of September 9th, 2025. You have them in your packet. Please take a look. You're satisfied? There's no discussion, errors, corrections, omissions? Motion, please.
Seifert moves to approve the minutes of September 9, 2025.
Lorick seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Christine.
Anna, I.
Boucher.
Kipchinsky abstains.
Lorick, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Oldani abstains.
Seifert, aye.
Okay, item 4, review site architectural and related plans for the construction of a Buc-ee's proposed fueling station to be located at 10700, 10820, and 10840 South 27th Street. Christie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Plan Commission. Christy Lane, Community Development Director. The agenda item before you is for a proposed construction of a fueling station, fueling plaza. We're talking about 3 parcels as they are laid out today at the very southwest corner of the city. The properties are zoned B6, Interchange Regional Retail District, and the land use is consistent with the comprehensive plan. As you may recall, that was previously approved by the Plan Commission and Comm Council in meetings earlier this year to amend the comp plan and also to rezone these particular parcels. So what's proposed this evening is we're going to review the site plan, the layout of the property, landscaping plan, lighting plan, and architectural plans as is described in the zoning code that the Plan Commission has the authority to review and grant final approval if they deem so necessary. This is a 24-hour travel center, Buc-ee's. They are proposing to construct a 73,000 square foot building with 2 fuel canopies. It's a tourism destination. Buc-ee's has 36 travel centers throughout the country. They are anticipating a little over 10,000 vehicles per day visiting this site, and they do anticipate full-time staff of about 200 to 250 people, with a typical shift employing about 100 to 125. So we'll start off with the basic site plan. North is up with Elm Road on the north side and 27th Street on the west side of the property and I-94 on the east side. So the site layout includes 1 entrance off of Elm Road and 2 entrances and exits off of 27th Street. You may recall the certified survey map that was previously reviewed and approved lays out a future commercial development outlot to the south of this parcel, and then an outlot for a retention and detention pond. The building and the canopy meet the setbacks, and along with the coverage and the building height. They all meet the setbacks and restrictions of the B6 zoning district. So this is just some renderings of the building. The top one is the front view along Elm Road, and then the lower elevation is the back view, the southern elevation from the perspective of the commercial lot. And then getting into details, the north elevation will be mostly constructed of a stone facade, and the east elevation again is mostly stone. The parapet walls are constructed of EIFS material. They have a variety in their roof line and the parapet walls. This is their standard design. South elevation, you can see here, these are the retaining walls that are blocking the loading docks in the back south elevation. And then here are the compactors for garbage. It's actually attached to the building. And then the west elevation, again, is mostly a stone material used on the facade. So some things to mention regarding building materials and how it meets the city zoning code. We do require a minimum of 50% of masonry material on the front and side elevations, and then a minimum of 50% for the rear elevations on 4-sided buildings. You can see the proposal meets the minimum for brick, for the stone veneer, or not veneer, the stone material on the front and side elevations, 55%, 61, and 62. However, the proposal on the south or rear elevation, they're proposing 23.8%. The code does require a minimum of 50%. You'll see further in the presentation that one of the conditions that staff is recommending is that they bump that up to meet the minimum 50% on the south elevation. As this is going to be a four-sided building, you'll see the south end from that commercial outlet that will eventually be developed. And then the code goes into details about the EFIS material. It does say that there's a maximum 15%. However, the code does allow additional EFIS per a 3/4 vote from the Plan Commission. The emphasis is that it's not the main facade material. That's the code's intent, is to not have the majority of the material be EFIS. So again, the EFIS here are those parapet walls that have the entrance and the signs that say Buc-ee's on the front and side. So it's not a material that's going down to the base of the building. It's just the parapet at the top. They're proposing 38%, 27, 26, and 28 for the 4 elevations. So just to focus a little bit on what we're talking about for a recommendation regarding the 50% on the south elevation, I highlighted here where it would be pretty easy to increase the stone on the back elevation. And then you can see there's an enclosure here on the very southern property line. And when I say southern property line here, what I'm referring to specifically Buc-ee's south property line, not that commercial outlet's south property line. It would be the Buc-ee's portion. And the proposal originally had like an EFIS stucco material around this enclosure, around the generator. Staff did ask for the recommendations in the report to change the materials to a brick or stone veneer to match the building. And the applicant has quickly turned that around and has submitted a revised elevation for that enclosure around the generator just yesterday. So that condition can be removed. They did satisfy that condition in just a matter of days. So there are 2 canopies on the property because the entrance off of West Elm Road goes south and splits what would need to be needed for the surface area for 120 fuel pumps. So the canopy to the west of the entrance is 704 feet by 62. At the peak height, where the parapet wall, parapet canopy matches the walls of the building. You know, they're doing a roof line to match the building. The peak height is 29.6 inches. And then the canopy to the east of the entrance is smaller, 262 by 62 feet, and again, same height of 29.6 inches at the peak. So the reason this project has had kind of I'll call it like a 3 or 4 month gap from the last approval for the conditional use permit and certified survey map to the final site landscaping, architectural, and lighting plans is because we've been waiting for the DOT to sign off on a traffic impact analysis study that Buc-ee's submitted to them. So there's been months and months and months of review from the DOT. South 27th Street is a state highway. Obviously, I-94 is under the state DOT's jurisdiction, and because of Elm Road being so short in between, right now Elm Road is under the state's jurisdiction as well. So they had to review the traffic impact analysis that was submitted by Buc-ee's, and they did provide a letter of acceptance and said that you can apply for your permits with the state, and then had some criteria. And this is the map that's associated with that very lengthy traffic impact analysis. I'm not going to go into extreme details. I did describe the road improvements in the report that was submitted to you late last week. Essentially, what's going to happen in summary is that there will be 4 traffic signals along Elm Road. There will be one on the very eastern leg of the I-94 ramps. There will be one on the western leg of the ramps. There will be one at the entrance to Bucky's off of Elm Road, and there will be one at the intersection of 27th and Elm. All of these will be controlled by state DOT, not locally by the city of Oak Creek. Requirements include some lane widths with increases along Elm Road. You can see that there will be if you're going westbound on Elm Road, for example, there will be a 2-lane left turn lane dedicated to get into the entrance to Bucky's. There will be additional line painting, not necessarily road width increases everywhere. There's a lot of right-of-way on Elm Road as it's designed today. It's just that it could be done possibly with just some additional painting for new lanes. But you can see, for another example, if you're going northbound on 27th Street, there are 2 right turn lanes dedicated at the intersection of 27th and Elm. So a lot of improvements that Bucky's will be making, not the city of Oak Creek. These are requirements for this particular development. There are a few improvements that will not be required at this time. You can see some notations on here that, for example, on the corner of 27th and Elm, the city of Franklin anticipates a business park to be built eventually on the west side of 27th Street. And for example, there's a note here that the west approach will be constructed by the city of Franklin at a later date when that future development comes forward. But in summary, there will be 4 traffic signals along West Elm at the interstate intersections as well to control the extra traffic that will be coming here for this particular development. Just some other notations for the site plan. Staff is recommending additional pedestrian walkways be painted to lead pedestrians from the west parking lot to the west entrance and from the east parking lot to the east entrance. That was a suggested recommendation in the report. There are 410 parking spaces required for the city of Oak Creek parking section of the zoning code. They are proposing 665. So they do exceed. We have a notation in our zoning code that if parking exceeds 20% of the excessive cap, the applicant needs to prove that it's needed and that it can be at the discretion of the community development director that truly more than 20% of what the code requires is needed. Definitely think that is the situation here. Again, Bucky's is well versed on what their demand is for their other travel centers in the country, and they do feel that 665 parking spaces is needed given the number of visitors at this particular site. One other notation requirement in our zoning code requires some sort of community amenity for retail buildings that are larger than 25,000 square feet. So what they're providing at the southwest corner of the site is a bike and pedestrian seating area. They'll have 2 bike racks, and there's even a bike repair stand that will be provided. But this is an example listed in our zoning code that would meet that community amenity for facilities and retail places that are larger than 25,000 square feet. One requirement for this type of submittal is to submit a photometric and lighting plan. We have very detailed standards called out in our zoning code. The photometric plan does meet all of the requirements. I guess one note to mention is that at first the foot candles exceeded what the code required at the entrances. Staff pointed that out to the applicant, and they modified the lighting plan right away and got that to me before publication of the report last Friday. So one thing just to note generally about lighting, the city again has standards. We have caps as far as foot candles and Kelvin, the heat that's emitted from the lights. And we're not saying that the lights won't be seen. They will be seen, but what is regulated in a typical municipal zoning code is that the light is not splaying past the property line. It's a technical terminology, but they are meeting the city requirements as far as the lighting and photometric plans go. And these are examples. So they have soffit lighting that downlight underneath the building roof. That's what those will look like. These are the recessed canopy lights. We do require that they be recessed in the fuel canopies. They have the Archer LED canopy lighting. These are the light heads, the LED light heads that you'll see throughout the property in the parking lot and along the perimeter. They are required to be lit directly down. They can't be angled. Some light poles will have 3 light heads, some will have 1. It just varies throughout the site. And then these are the wall pack designs for the lights along the building elevation. Regarding landscaping, the code does state that if you are removing trees, if they meet a certain caliber, certain size, that you have to replace the trees on site at a 3-to-1 ratio. And for a larger caliper, you are required to replace at a 4-to-1 ratio. So they do have 18 trees on site. You can see they're identified with the red X's at the very northeastern corner of the property, and then just a few here down at the southeastern corner. So 18 of those trees were subject to the 3-to-1 replacement ratio. 1 tree was subject to the 4-to-1 replacement ratio, which means 58 replacement trees were required on site. They do meet that criteria. And then this is their proposed landscaping plan. They are doing some pretty substantial perimeter landscaping kind of above and beyond what the code requires, and that's where your 58 trees can be found. Along Elm Road and along 27th Street, they have the perimeter landscaping around the parking lot as is required. They meet the code as far as the island, the number of trees in the islands and how frequently those trees need to be placed. And also we do require median landscaping for every 3rd row of parking, and they did meet that code as well, or code requirement as well. And then one thing to note, we have zones, landscaping zones identified in the zoning code that says when you have commercial development that abuts residential, you are required to provide a fence and landscaping. And so there is a single family home here at the south that's zoned residential, single family, and then you have property that's zoned agriculture just behind it. There is no landscaping transition required when commercial abuts agriculture, just when it abuts single family, but the applicant did go forth with proposing landscaping along that entire southern perimeter with a 6-foot tall cedar fence and 2 rows of trees. Staff is recommending some additional perimeter landscaping just to fulfill the requirements of that section of the zoning code. We're asking just for additional perimeter landscaping on that eastern portion of Elm Road and then along the I-94 property line to the east. So we have review criteria for projects that go before the Plan Commission for site and architecture, just like we do for conditional uses. There are a lot, and it's a lot of words, and some of these I paraphrased rather than copying and pasting from the zoning code. But the following principles are established to apply to all new structures. So, you have to have acceptable exterior materials. However, it does note, as I mentioned before, the Plan Commission has the discretion to adjust the minimum with a 3/4 vote. The building has to be relative proportion to neighboring buildings. There really aren't any in this particular case. It has to have roof variation. No flat roofs are allowed, so it does meet that with the parapet walls. Buildings shall be designed in such a manner that you won't have long blank walls. There definitely are varieties here in the articulation of the exterior elevations. No building use shall have a negative impact on the maintenance of safety and healthful conditions of the city. Maintain topography meets that. This is the, letter G is the community public space must be provided. That was the bike and pedestrian seating area for buildings larger than 25,000 square feet. They shall have dumpsters, trash receptacles. Their dumpsters are right up against the building. And wetlands shall not be cleared, filled, or drained. There is an exception letter from the DNR that has been provided, it was also provided in the report. The DNR has signed off that there is an exemption for these small wetlands on this property. And then also you must meet the tree preservation requirements. So the application appears to meet all those review criteria. The suggested motions are before you. Just to note, I did cross off letter 2C, as they did meet that generator enclosure design modification. And then I also do want to point out that after speaking with the engineering department, I think I failed to add this particular requirement in the report, so we want to add that tonight, that a development agreement be submitted between the developer and city to be approved and executed prior to building permits being issued. With that, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Christy. Appreciate it. Does the applicant have any questions on conditions? Restrictions? It's indicating no. As this is not a public hearing, I'm going to allow anybody that wishes to speak tonight, but I'm going to ask that you go to the shelf over there, or the folder. There are forms to be filled out. Please fill them out. We will put a 3-minute time limit on your testimony, and we will ask that you just come up once with one opportunity. Please let Christy have those. And after the questions, we'll go to the commission. Okay. Very first one, Mary Ellen Malcolm wishes to speak. 10351 South St. Paul Drive. We'll still need your name, Mary Ellen.
I will give it, but before you start the timer, I want to personally thank you for allowing public comments contrary to the notice that was sent out. We appreciate it as taxpayers of Oak Creek, and thank you, Christy, for handing out my handouts. So I'm ready to start when you're ready.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Mary Ellen Malcolm, 10351. Should that be taking in my minutes, giving my name and address? Can you restart it after I give my name and address, please?
Sure.
Thank you, sir. Mary Ellen Malcolm, 10351 South St. Paul's Drive, Oak Creek, Wisconsin. Ready. We have asked the City of Oak Creek to review our legal claims before proceeding further. This should be done before any further approvals. A copy of our legal counsel's letter to the attorneys for the city is attached. It raises some very legal issues regarding the basis for the conditional use permit and the spot zoning that we have raised. My intent is not to go into the legal portion. The DOT report that we received 2 weeks after it was issued through the city clerk is a very expensive proposal that shows the massive increase in traffic could potentially be managed if the trend counts are accurate, but does not mean it should be approved because it will still have a very negative impact on the area for no meaningful benefit to the city. By that I mean, where is the economic benefit cost versus analysis that the city has used? We have yet to see anything on that. There was 2,457 pages, and there's a lot of data in there. And I'm very grateful that the state took the time to properly review it. The Planning Commission and the city do not need to approve because of the DOT report. They simply do not, and there's no threat of legal action from the applicants or owners. Bucky's simply requires that you do so. The DOT report shows massive improvements are needing. The costs will be very high. The DOT report does not show that the impact to our neighborhood, but the impact will be significant and detrimental. I don't buy that we're not going to see the lights, we're not going to hear the noise, which have been raised to the state. We're not going to get the pollution from 20,000 cars, which was one of the estimates quoted in the traffic report. We're going to hear that 24/7. We're going to get the negative effects of gas fumes. Mr. Lorick, I know you said it's not going to go into the Root River and the Lake Michigan. Pardon my language, bullshit. I don't buy it. Also, the DOT report does not address all of that or the impact to us. If massive retail use is allowed, this will be used as an example for other parts of Oak Creek. When I moved in, Mr. Mayor, it was a city of balance. I respected that. I've lived in this city for 48 years. Most importantly, the Oak Creek Water and Sewer just released a notice requiring a major upgrade to the underground facilities. Copies of that I received last week is in your packet. It won't be completed till 2030, and it's $52 million. Also, the estimate, if you can believe it, of 23,000 to 25,000 gallons of water in a day is going to put additional strain on that. From day one, we've asked you to slow down the approval process to make sure due diligence and full disclosure to the public is made. What is the rush? Also, there's a letter from the Colorado government to Buc-ee's. There is a couple of other items. I want you to restore my faith in public government. I want you all to look me in the eye and say that you are going to do the right thing for all of Oak Creek, that we're not doing this because Buc-ee's is asking you to do it, but I'm counting on you to restore my faith and to slow this down and allow accurate exchange of information. I believe in you. Please don't disappoint me. Thank you for the
For your
time.
input. If you don't refrain from clapping, we will stop the public comment. Next, Britt.
I'll start. Britt Devusic, 2580 West St. John's Way, Oak Creek. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I think one of the screens was wrong. I know the traffic info isn't 10,080 vehicles per day. In the DOT TIA, it's 21,200, so some numbers have to change there. There was also a slide about the watershed, which was quickly slipped through, and she alluded to the water issues that are going to be an issue, so I think that's something that we all have to consider. We're kind of curious what the estimate is from Buc-ee's on the cost of the road improvements, all of the huge changes, and with that being said, what's the flip side of that? So what kinds of other tax breaks or incentives then are they requesting or getting in lieu of the amount that they're going to pay? I'm not a ChatGPT user, but if you enter in everything the traffic analysis says, it's $26 million of improvements, and it just sounds like a lot. I realize that's not totally accurate, but we want to know what the potential cost is and what they agreed to pay. So just thinking about that for our state. So I'm a Oak Creek, obviously, community member, busy in Oak Creek schools and all over the city. I've seen a lot of you as I've gone around the city, and I've talked to a lot of people as a result. And I really can't think of anybody that I've talked to that's been in support of this. Now, a lot of us in this room live near the proposed project, so we show up. But I haven't heard anybody that's been excited about it like you have. And especially after they hear the effect of the traffic on our freeway, on our streets, and in our city. And then the size of it, some people think it's a gas station, but it's not a gas station. It's a mini Disneyland or whatever she called it the first meeting we were here. And is that what we want our city to look like? So it's not too late for you to go back and think on, like, was this what we thought we were getting into with this project? Is this something we really want in our community? Maybe it can go in some other community that has more wide open spaces, but to shove it in a small little corner of our city and then just wait and see, like, oh, maybe it'll be okay. That's one thing. And the other thing is just all the sacrificial lambs here. Nobody cares that our home values are going to go down, that the city will actually lose money because of tax dollars after our home values go down. And there is research on that with homes located near Buc-ee's. So just kind of thinking about your community members, your friends, your neighbors. We're neighbors. You might not live right by us, but you live somewhere in Oak Creek. And this is all Oak Creek. This isn't right for Oak Creek. I think it's good to back up, take some time, and just reconsider this whole situation. Thank you for your time. Thanks everyone else too.
Thank you for your comments. Again, please refrain, sir. Patricia?
Hi, I'm Patricia Dillman. What else do you need?
Address.
2472 West Heavenview Lane.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you guys for being here. I understand that no final decision has been made. Is that right?
As far as total approval,
Right. full approval.
that's why we're here tonight.
Okay. So it's going to be decided tonight.
The vote will be tonight.
So as you guys are looking, and ladies, looking through this, I want you to think about how do we as Oak Creek people, are we going to benefit from this? Do we get tax breaks? How about the people in the neighborhoods nearby, the neighborhoods further out? Make sure that Buc-ee's, God bless you, we're getting as much as we can. We're business people, so you get as much as you can for Oak Creek if you decide to vote yes. I'm hoping you vote no. Just take a little bit more time, maybe have a more question and answers for everybody that couldn't be here tonight. But make sure that we're not getting ripped off. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Okay, seeing nobody else, we will close it on the public comment, and we will go to the commission. So let's start out, Christine.
I have no comment. Actually, Christy did a very good presentation, so I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, Steve.
Oh, it was a very good report. I'm very impressed with the landscaping plan and some of the additions that were recommended, so no further questions.
Okay, Ashley.
No further comments than what was included in the report. Thank you.
Greg.
So I do have a couple questions. I do appreciate the tree replantings because I know oftentimes there's developments that don't meet the replanting requirements. So I appreciate that that has been met. As far as the the EFS on the caps, I don't have an issue with the current percentages. With the stone veneer requirement to cover 50%, I know that that outbuilding or bump out or whatever that was that they're changing to the generator housing, that covers a lot of that exterior back wall from site. I guess I'm just curious, the 50%, would it then match the other three sides seem to be greater than 50%, is that correct?
Yeah, the other three sides are at 55, 61, and 62. That generator, I'm just gonna go to the site plan. The generator enclosure is back here.
Okay. So that, I mean, I would support staff's recommendation of requiring that be 50% on the rear of the building, because it will be viewed from all sides. With the traffic analysis, did the site plan account for the changes required and I know specifically there was the raised median up on Elm to require right turn lanes. That was all included in the current site plan?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. And then the canopies, are those, is the logo lit? How are they lit?
I think so.
Is the whole thing lit or just the logo?
Just the logo.
Applicants indicated the logo.
Okay. I mean, for now, and as far as the site plan, that's the only questions I have, but I may have some as it goes down the line.
Chris?
I have no questions. Thank you for the thorough report, Christy.
Okay. Don?
No questions. I would like to see the 50%. I know it's in the conditions. I'd like to keep it there for any other commissioners listening.
Okay. Fred?
Okay, I'd like to answer the lady about polluting our water in Oak Creek. And the chlorine tanks that we have now are underground, and the DNR recommends that we remove them from the underground because of the potential leak and problems. Therefore, we have to build them above ground. And they will control the quality of the water, so there's no problem with the air pollution from Bucky's getting into our water system. So I'd like just to clarify it that there is no problem with the new chlorine tanks above ground, even though they cost $52 million. They have to be done because of the DNR requirements to take those chlorine tanks from underground to above ground. And there should be no problem with the quality of our water. Number two, where do you think all these people will go to get gas if they don't have Bucky's? Those cars will go into the city and they will generate noise, traffic, and pollution. So let's keep them out of the city and keep them right on the expressway. That's what they like to say, but it will keep a lot of traffic out of the city and onto the expressway.
You cannot speak.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, you
You
cannot
have
speak.
to get up and speak.
Nope, we're done
No.
bringing people up. Just continue, Fred.
Okay,
We're not gonna do a tit for tat on all that. So keep going.
okay. So people like to see traffic out of their neighborhood, and I agree, but we have 8 filling stations in the city, and people come into the city to get gas. They also gas up in the city. So I really don't see a major problem with the city other than there's a potential noise, but it will help the city to keep it nice and reduce a lot of the traffic inside the city.
Anything else,
Okay.
Fred?
Now,
Okay. Go ahead.
There was a concern that was submitted with this other documentation, regarding a car wash. I just wanted to confirm there's no car wash proposed with this site, is there? Oh, okay, thank you.
Christie, let's just kind of go back, stormwater pond, to the very south. I mean, I'm sure it's adequate for what's been designed and engineered for the Bucky site. Does it take into account the future commercial development on the far south end?
Yeah, that's a great question. It does. The engineering department is working with the applicant and reviewing a stormwater management plan.
Okay.
Yes.
The traffic, I'm not gonna address, that as a state issue, and it's been gone over thoroughly by the state and Bucky's and all the parties involved there. Glad to see the tree replacements going on. The applicants seem fine with the additional landscape that faces the northeast corner and then the east sides. Good with that?
Yeah, I have not heard of any opposition.
Okay.
Right.
The EFS, Greg brought that up. I'm fine with it. As far as the brick, I'd love to see the brick stay as well in its south elevation. Place. Definitely the painted pedestrian walkways, for sure. Again, you know, they're pretty versed at this. They've done that. Glad to see the traffic lights are going in and the pass-through lanes. It looks like extensive upgrades. Just for the record, the city is not paying for any of those upgrades as well. We talked about some of the benefits the city's going to get. We're going to get a great corporate partner in Bucky's by all accounts. Everybody we've talked to across the country enjoys having them within their community, and even one person said if we get a second one, we'd take a second. So we're looking for a great partnership going forward. Nobody likes to hear it, but there is a tax benefit to it. Right now, there's not a lot of tax value on that land. There will be tax value to the city. There will be a great amount of tax value to the county, who just got tax done to help them with their services. And I'm sure the State Department of Revenue will appreciate the 200 to 52 full-time positions too as well. So just wanted to make those points. 85% of this traffic will get on and off and go. Whether it brings additional people out of the way, I'm sure that's going to happen. But there's right now a few 100,000 cars going by there now. That's not going to change whether Buc-ee's stays or goes or whatever it does. So, and then of course, you know, what else does it do for Oak Creek? It makes us different. It makes us better as a community. If we get a good corporate partner, they're going to help the city. So, with that, can't really, as long as all the conditions are met, the generator got taken care of. It was a very good report. Commissioners, any other questions that came to mind?
Yeah, I actually have one question. Did they submit a lighting plan?
Excuse me, yes, that was on this slide here, these two slides. They did submit a photometric plan with the cut sheets for the lights. And it does, the foot candles and the Calvin meet the code. Everything about the lighting plan meets the code.
And has the fire department reviewed the?
Yeah, I haven't, I do believe Jeff is here. Yep,
Yes.
but no particular comments or concerns from the fire department.
From exit and entrance? And, okay.
No.
Good, thank you.
Okay. There's no further discussion. Motion.
Donnie moves that the Plan Commission approves the site architectural and related plans for the construction of Buc-ee's, a proposed fueling station to be located at 10700, 10820, and 10840 South 27th Street with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. 2, that revised plans be submitted electronically to the Community Development Department showing the following. A, additional perimeter landscaping along West Elm Road and along the east property line. B, the south building elevation masonry being increased to the minimum 50%. New C, retaining walls details such as materials, dimensions, and cut sheets. D, adding internal pedestrian walkways being painted to guide patrons from the parking lot to the east and west entrances. Number 3, that detailed utility plans be submitted electronically to the Water and Sewer Utility Department for review and approval, showing all easements, including a 25-foot easement along the east property line for future water main work. 4, that a finalized stormwater management plan be submitted electronically to the Engineering Department for review and approval. 5, that a development agreement for public infrastructure improvements between the developer and the City of Oak Creek be approved and executed prior to building permits being issued. 6, that this approval by Plan Commission shall expire within 12 months after the date of approval if a building permit has not been issued.
Lork seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Steve.
Ouch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Davich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Aldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Anna, aye.
Okay. Congratulations, guys. Neighbors, all I can say is change is pain, but it's going to work out in the end. It's going to be a benefit. Thank you.
Not tit for tat. We are citizens of Oak Creek. You make it sound like you want to put all of that in our neighborhood. Don't forget, we pay our taxes. We are citizens of the United States and Oak Creek as well. There are things that were missed. The stormwater and the water that you referenced wasn't the quality of the air. It was that no, sir, please, it's my 3 minutes. We were adding additional strain on a system that needs to be repaired. We all agree to that. We're saying it won't be till 2030. Why are we pushing this in 2027, even without the car wash? The noise, yes, we're going to have it. So Why do we have to suffer? Why are you pushing this on us? And yet you have not shared with us costs, benefits. We as an impacted neighborhood would appreciate to sit down with you and understand why the rush. Why the rush? From day one, we asked you to take time, explain the rationale, and look at what other states are doing with Buc-ee's. We're not the only ones challenging them. That's not the only one. Look at Colorado. Look at North Carolina. Look at even a location in Texas. All we're asking for is due diligence, yet you don't want to give this. And I'm sorry, but we are citizens of Oak Creek. We pay our taxes. Please don't reference that you're going to send all the noise in that. And what about the impact on gas stations already that take the business, or the loss of jobs from other locations? 40% of existing businesses lose revenue when Buc-ee's comes to town. Answer those concerns for us, please. That's all we ask. Facts. We want what's good for everyone, but don't leave us out of the pie. Don't forget that we are Oak Creek citizens, and I'll ask each one of you, would you want to live next to it?
Yes. I'll answer you, ma'am. You're not the only resident in Oak Creek. There are a lot of other people in Oak Creek that appreciate the opportunity.
All right, we're going to call the item done.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I
Thank you.
appreciate the opportunity to put some comments on there. I appreciate that more than you know.
And again, just for the record, this business followed the same procedure as any other business would in the city. So, okay, we're going to move on, and we're going to go on to item 5, and that's conditional use amendment with conditions and restrictions. It is a request for a conditional use amendment for Keenis Buick GMC of Oak Creek for an existing business located at 7020 South 27th Street and 2420 South Rawson Avenue. Submitted by Dax Conley of Coons Auto and RV and Craig Hoffman of Pinnacle Engineering Group. Christy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The application before you, do you want me to wait a minute?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. The application before you is to amend a conditional use permit for Kunis Buick GMC. This is a property at the northeast corner of Rawson and 27th Street. It's zoned B4 general business. It does have a conditional use permit going back to 2018 to construct and operate a car dealership. What they're proposing to do is amend one particular condition and restriction associated with this property. This was before the Plan Commission in June, and then we did hold a public hearing. It was a twofold application. It was to expand the parking lot, the inventory parking lot to the east of the property. And then you can see here, there's a faint blue property line here. Kunis owns this parcel here to the east, along with the parcel where the main principal building is located. You cannot have a standalone parking lot on a parcel without a principal building. So their application also included a certified survey map to combine the two parcels. When this was before the Common Council for public hearing for the conditional use permit and the CSM, it was brought to the attention of some past approvals affiliated with this particular parcel that just, institutional knowledge of has been lost with staff turnover over time. And so what the Common Council did is they did not act on the certified survey map. They didn't approve it that evening. They asked staff to do some research and dig into the history here. The property owner to the immediate north had made mention to the council that there was a requirement in the past and a memorandum of understanding that said the previous owner, Kunis has only owned this property for about 2 years. The previous owner, All-Star Buick GMC, who was owned by an LLC called Boyland Properties. Apparently with the approval from 2018, there was a condition that the future road, this is the official road map here, the light blue. They stated that the future road on the Buick GMC property was to be dedicated as right-of-way and constructed up into the property line. I can't speak for exactly what happened in the past, but obviously that was not really followed through. It did not happen. The construction of the road didn't happen. The dedication of right-of-way didn't happen. And quite frankly, the MOU that was mentioned, there is no such MOU. We have dug, we checked with the Register of Deeds. There has never been a memorandum of understanding entered into stating such requirement. However, that conditional use permit and the conditions and restrictions did have this verbiage in there that carried over into this new fast forward 2025 conditional use permit. So the application before you is to remove this particular paragraph from the conditions and restrictions. It states that prior to the approval of site and building plans for the development, the applicant shall prepare and submit a certified survey map combining the properties. That was done. Right-of-way for any public street as illustrated in the official map within these properties shall be dedicated. That was not done. And the public improvements installed unless a variation or exception is granted by the Common Council per municipal code. So that is the request before you this evening, is to provide a recommendation to the Common Council to allow for that variation or exception, stating basically, no, you don't need to dedicate right of way. No, you don't need to construct a road here. Just a little bit of information. If they were to only do one of those requirements and dedicate this as right of way, the city would be stuck with right of way going through a pond. Not a situation that the city would want to be in. And also the construction of this road. Back up a little bit. About 10 years ago, the state of Wisconsin DOT, who has jurisdiction on 27th Street, had grant funds available. It probably would have been something like an 80-20 match. 80% of the funding for this frontage road, I'll call it, would have been covered by the DOT, and maybe about 20% covered by the city of Oak Creek. At that time, it appears, from what I've been told, I was not here, but all of these property owners that follow this path were in agreement and thought that was a great idea, except at that time, this property owner to the very north. So, because you didn't have all the property owners in cooperation with that plan, time went by, the grant funds were no longer available, and it never happened. Fast forward a few years, Boyland or All-Star Buick GMC constructed, they got the conditional use permit, the city imposed this requirement that they construct only their leg of it. But in all honesty, we don't know if this is even feasible for some future development. It would take a lot for different property owners to all come to agreement to spend the money and the funds for some sort of development. It basically would take a developer to assemble all this land and have a development in place, similar to what's happening in the Northwestern Mutual properties a little bit further south on 27th Street. So with that being said, the recommendation is for the Plan Commission to recommend approval to remove this particular paragraph. A public hearing would be required, and that could be scheduled as soon as October 21st.
Thank you, Christy. First, if anybody wishes to speak on this, please fill out a slip, and we'll go to the podium, give you a minute or so. And we'll take your statements, and we'll go to the commission, and we'll go from there. While they are preparing it, I just want to make a little comment. Christy gave a really good synopsis on exactly what happened with that property. The DOT came in and was going to pay for that road, and one property owner did not agree, so the opportunity was lost, and it just remained on the map. That would basically be a road to nowhere through a pond. So in some cases, it just doesn't make sense. If it was going to be a whole connection point, maybe back then it would have made some sense to do, but it was a lost opportunity, and now this is what we have. We go through this all the time. Those are just placeholders. They really aren't official streets. So Okay, well, hang tight, Karen. Well, we'll see if, I think that's the applicant. We'll let him go first if you don't mind. But either way, it is a placeholder, and I guess if future road did have to go in there in some way, shape, or form, there is room because the parking lot's not infringing all the way over. But we'll let the applicant speak. Come on up, sir. Yeah, come on up. Name and address.
Dax Conley, Director of Development with the Cunis Group, Delvin Holdings, 2141 East Geneva Street in Delvin, Wisconsin. I just wanted to make note and let the Plan Commission know that if the neighbor to the north were to approach us and try to find a way in that northwest corner to make some access work, there's a MOU agreement from DOT and the city of Oak Creek and the Boylan Group that tried to make something back then in 2015 work. And that agreement is still in place. If DOT would possibly work with us on that northwest corner, or the neighbor would come to us and have some kind of plan in place, we would be very open-minded to help them to get to their development. We don't want to be a roadblock for them, but we also don't want to have a $2 million to a $3 million road to nowhere that has wetlands, you have tree reserve ordinances, you have the cost of the road, and you have a possible road through a stormwater pond that just isn't movable for us. It would be a huge, huge, huge expense for us. So I just want to make note of that.
Great. Karen?
Hi. I don't know if you can hear me.
Name and address, please.
Karen Kleinetter, 2144 West Cedar Street. So I'm the road that's kind of like in the back of them. Just some questions. I am just learning about this. So what are they planning on putting back there?
Nothing as of right now. So Kunis is putting in these parking lots. Can you see that up there?
Okay.
So it's away from Cedar Street. It actually sits on Rawson Avenue.
Okay.
The prior map Christie had up where they show Cedar Street where you're located, they show that cul-de-sac. Once again, that's just an imaginary line that possibly that property owner could decide to try to access that and put homes or whatever he may do, but that's up to that property owner with that long shaped Oklahoma kind of shaped lot he has.
Just a so they're not putting anything there right now?
No.
Oh, 'cause
the point was, you see where that road kind of snakes up and heads north towards Menards and the car wash and things?
Yep.
The DOT years ago, we're probably getting on 8 years ago, maybe 10, I'm dating myself, but they proposed to put that in to relieve some traffic off 27th Street.
Okay.
And long story short, as Christie explained, that property owner to the north didn't want to sign off on it. So the whole deal fell through, and the roads just remain on the map.
Okay.
But again, to put a road in there, and he's worried that he may not get into his property, but the fact of the matter is, there are options off 27th Street as well off Cedar, if he ever got that far.
So now on that map, you have like where it says 22nd Street and Cedar is kind of like this rounded,
Yes.
that little thing. What is that there for?
That's just an imaginary cul-de-sac, like if he decided to put that in there, the property owner to your west, that would give him access into his property.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to point at him, but his property?
No.
Oh, okay.
The person to the north, actually, I think it was Ed Lazowski's property.
Okay. This rumor had it that they were going to put a car wash in there and some other kind of RV thing or something like that.
No, once again, just rumors.
Okay.
As far as I know, as far as I know, the property's still up for sale. There's an older farmhouse on the front of it.
Mm-hmm.
In the back is just heavily wooded.
Okay, because I live, and behind my house is where that field is, that long skinny field from 27th to 20th Street. And when I started hearing all this stuff, the thing that I was worried about, there is a lot of wetlands back there, and a lot of animals, all different kind of animals. As to if there would be some big construction, where do they all go? I mean, we're talking deer, all that kind of stuff. And I have a well, so when they said they were going to put a car wash, I'm like, okay, where does the runoff water go? Is this going to get into the wells or any of that kind of stuff?
No car wash.
No car wash? Okay.
No. Actually, we got an ordinance now. There won't be any more car washes going in. Unless it's like attached to.
Okay.
Anyways.
So I don't
you won't get another tsunami in.
So I don't have to worry about anything coming down my road or that kind of
No.
stuff.
And again, anything, they would go through the same procedure you just witnessed with Buc-ee's. Over the course of time, they have to do stormwater management, the whole thing. And the whole point is not to improve their property, to make yours worse.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. That's it from the audience. All right, Christine.
Yes, actually, I have a question for the applicant. When you said that there is an MOU between your property and the one north of yours, what is that for?
The 2015 MOU.
I can explain it. So it's 2005. 2005 MOU was between the state and this property owner, and it was just to provide this driveway. Promise that this was way before the dealership was ever constructed or a thought. It simply was to provide an access driveway off of 27th Street. That's the only MOU we can find on file.
Okay, so because you don't want to have like landlocked, so I think that the MOU is to make sure that those other parcels are not landlocked.
There's only one MOU on record, and it's from 2005.
For which address?
For this land right here,
Okay.
the dealership, to provide this driveway off of 27th Street.
Okay.
Yep. There is not another MOU on record that we can find.
As long as the MOU is attached to that address that is
It is.
listed, then you're, okay, then
Yep.
I have no more questions. Thank you.
Steve?
No questions.
Ashley?
No questions.
Greg?
I know I brought this up in a previous meeting. I have heard from the neighbor to the north previously. I don't think anybody's here representing that property. No. That they were concerned about being landlocked. There's a driveway on that property already. It is for residential use. If it were ever to be developed commercially, I appreciate going on record and saying that there's an existing MOU. Because I too don't think that you need to put in millions of dollars for a road that there's no proposed development north of you. Why have a road there that could be indefinitely there? It may not ever get developed. Nobody knows that. So I'm in agreement that this can be removed. And the other properties north of that one could still access, I'm assuming 27th Street through the imaginary road that's there now, and have access at that intersection, and eventually put in some type of road system there.
Yeah, so the DOT will allow existing driveways to remain, but they're all residential uses. And so the DOT's restriction is that, and this is why they wanted the frontage road constructed back in the day when there were grant funds, is that any commercial development, the DOT won't allow commercial driveways off to 27th Street, which is why they want this frontage road. And in the future, someday, if someone were to assemble all this, they would have to construct some sort of frontage road because they will not have commercial access off of 27th Street.
And then the last thing, this is in the 2nd District. I don't know if any residents that live on Rawson Avenue are here. I don't want to speak for them, but I'm sure they would appreciate not having a road built right next to their string of homes. So again, another reason that I'm okay with this is being removed.
Hey, Greg?
Yep.
Thank you. Chris?
No questions.
Don?
Yeah, I've got a question. So the property to the north there, that's two separate properties, but one owner?
No.
Correct. Yep.
Is it
There's
same owner?
you can very faintly see there's a property line here. So there's one
those
skinny
two.
rectangle and then a larger rectangle here owned by the same person.
And what portion of this road is this proposed elimination language from their property right there?
Yep, right here, south.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, just that leg.
I see no need to spend the money to propose that road for basically no reason. Okay, understood.
All right. Fred?
No questions at this time.
I have none either. I mean, we've been through this, and again, it's just a missed opportunity, and here we are years later. So I have no problems with this being eliminated. There's no further discussion or questions. Motion.
Clerk moves to recommend that the Common Council approve a conditional use permit amendment for Kunes Buick GMC of Oak Creek, an existing business located at 7020 South 27th Street and 2420 West Rawson Avenue, after a public hearing and subject to conditions and restrictions.
Seifert seconds. Oh, I'm sorry.
We got a second. We will start with Ashley.
Pchinsky, aye.
Sorry, ma'am, you'll have to come up and we'll need your name and address. Oh, okay. We have a motion on the floor. Ashley?
Pchinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
And I.
Couch, aye.
Okay. That will bring us to adjournment. If there's no further business, we'll look for motion.
Seifert moved to adjourn the meeting at 7:12.
Lorick seconds.
Roll call, Greg?
Lorick, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
And I.
Couch, aye.
Pchinsky, aye.
Okay. Night, everybody. Have a great week.